My wife cannot remember the last time I only owned one vehicle. My Porsche 928 S4 is the only thing parked in my garage. It's not worth opening the gate even. But today things changes. 8 months ago I ordered a brand new car and I'm picking it up today. Have you ever experienced that some vehicles is something that you would like to buy and have been dreaming about it for years, but it doesn't fit your personality? I have such a vehicle, and if you'd really have one, please put it in the comments below. I really would like to know. But what I would love to drive, love to buy is this. Well, not particularly Toyota, but a pickup truck. I cannot explain why I so much would like to own and drive a pickup truck, but it doesn't fit my personality. I would like it to fit, but it doesn't. I'm not going to explain why. It feels, at least in Sweden, only construction workers have a pickup truck, and well, you do have a pickup if you're a hunter, but then again, you're not driving it. It's just a hunting cabin. But I think a pickup truck, perhaps it is too masculine for me, I don't know, but this is proper manhood counseling, and no, this is not the car I have bought, as you can imagine. No, I didn't buy a pickup truck, even though I wanted, but I bought this. A Toyota GR Yaris, my first Japanese cars ever, and I'm not gonna trust the British YouTubers if this is a spectacular car or not. No, I'm gonna use my experience. 19 years old, first Porsche, driving the Porsches. I am a true petrol head. I call it the art of driving when I drive, and I am gonna determine if this is a spectacular car or not. Please remember, this one has the steering wheel on the right side. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. I am about to drive my GR Yaris for the very, very first time. Is all this nonsense about this being the best driver's cars ever? I don't know. Let's find out. I'm gonna fire her up. This is my first time. You are with me all the way here, ladies and gentlemen. First gear, and this is my first centimeter of driving a GR Yaris.
Yes, straight on to a trailer. That's my first drive with my Yaris, and as I did with my last 6 Porsches I bought. But bear with me, I have a point to make.
Well, I've been trying to tell everybody that buy cars used or second-hand, that they should pay a tribute towards the people that has actually put PPF from the very start. And this is what I really need to tell everybody, that it's a kind of an effort doing this. It's not just jumping into the car and drive, and there is another aspect to it as well. Remember my 991.2 GT3? When I picked her up, I couldn't resist driving her. So I went up for a short drive, and bang, I got a stone shit from the very, very first meeting driving her. And I don't want to experience that anymore. I put PPF on it to not get more, right? But what if I didn't do that from the very beginning? It's so frustrating, and that's why you need to pay tribute to those people that actually goes through with all this trouble, trailing your vehicle to Autoshield to make sure you get the highest professional service and get your PPF, put it on your vehicle. Perhaps I need to say something about this spectacular pickup truck. Actually, it feels like driving any personal vehicle. It's no difference driving this car or a BMW or for crying out loud, a Cayenne, to be honest. It's very quiet, it's a very comfortable ride. I'm pulling, 1,300 kilos, right? Not much at all. It feels very stable. It is not comparable when it comes to towing as the Cayenne. The Cayenne holds the world record, as we all know. But overall, I'm very impressed. I don't want to know the price of this vehicle, not at all. If you could hook me up 6 months for free in a pickup, I would gladly drive it. But sorry, pickup truck does not fit my personality. It doesn't matter how much I would like to have one. They feel masculine, right? But I'm not, a bodybuilder or a carpenter or someone... well, let's not go that path. I was just heading to a path that will give you so many angry comments below. So I stopped that right away. I'm just gonna say that, yeah, this is a great vehicle, but it doesn't fit my personality. Oh, it would be nice though. It's a cool car. And imagine this car and you raise it a couple of inches, you put some fat BF Goodrich tires. By the way, BF Goodrich is Michelin, so if you haven't noticed and does not know that's the off-road you go for. Oh, I think I've covered it, haven't I? So this is it. I'm going to leave the car at Autoshield, and then I will catch up with you in my studio, I think. This is what it's all about, isn't it? Rally. I think this is the reason basically why the GR Yaris is alive. Homologation, and you know all about it if you're a petrol head. You've already seen tons of video of the Toyota GR Yaris. Please review them, it's nothing more to say about it. But I couldn't resist buying this scale when I saw it. It's from the 2019 Swedish Rally, and I think it's gonna be perfect. Remember what I did with my 718 Spider? I put this inside my vehicle. I'm planning to do the same with my Yaris. But before we continue, I would like to say something about scales, because what you're experiencing right now through my camera is two-dimensional. When you have a scale, it becomes three-dimensional. People are having difficulties to go from a toy to make a 3D photo. And that's something I have, for years overcome. Let me show you an example. This is me and my son in three-dimensional photo. And this is perfect because now I can experience to see the dimension in a totally different way when my son was very, very young. And obviously, I've bought a 959 Safari. This is where I started my Porsche journey. I just bought it recently. The 959 was where I really connected with Porsche. I saw the model. This is series out right now. I seriously consider everybody to at least take a look to see if you could get that experience. And actually from 911 scales, I got the Bonneville edition of my 928. So here I am with all these scales because I appreciate the three-dimensional effect that the photo never brings to me. Whew, that's about that. So continue on the GR Yaris. Actually, one of my best friends, Johan, does not know anything about me. 9 months or 8 months ago, purchased the vehicle. So it's going to be a shock for him viewing this video. And that's the point, isn't it? Because it's a bit difficult for a petrol head, especially for me, buying a Toyota instead of a Porsche. And recently, when I I said no to an allocation for the 992 GT3 Touring, has been tons of comments, and I'm still trying to get ahead to answer all the comments. But there is a big point to make by that, and let me just repeat something, because all the old statements of what the GT3 is not valid anymore. The 992 GT3 below 150 kilometers an hour, 93 miles an hour, it's a boring car. I'd rather drive my Cayman T on B roads. It's a much more fun, it's a better experience than in a 992 GT3, and that's the ugly truth. You need a racetrack to go above those 150 kilometers to really experience the potential and the joy you have of the art of driving on a 992 GT3. And 150 kilometers an hour, do you know how much drag that is? I mean, the aerodynamics becomes extremely important. And why on earth would I then order a Touring to get rid of the rear spoiler? I have a huge conflict in that as well from a technical perspective, because I will not be below 150 kilometers in that. It's a super bike, right? So there you have a few comments more on that, but that is one of the most common questions, that people are referring to the 992 GT3 as the old GT3s, which, 991.2, huge step back in development. That was fun on the B road, right? This is not fun on the B road because you go too fast. And then some will people, you should test it with a manual gearbox. Why on earth do I think the car will go slower with a manual gearbox, since the chassis and aerodynamics are set to work above 150? It doesn't work for me. Enough of the 992 GT3. Let's go back to the GT Yaris and let me talk you through why I ordered it in the first place. Well, Obviously, I thought I was going to have a 992 GT3 Touring, white carbon fiber roofs perhaps, and the GR Yaris parked beside, and I thought, well, that's a beautiful combination. I got joy in the art of driving in my daily driving and occasionally going on B roads. That wasn't the case, wasn't it? So at one point I actually considered not, try to get rid of the car immediately, but then I realized, no, not at all. I'm gonna take that in, I'm gonna enjoy it, because I have not decided yet which Porsche to buy, because this is also important. The GR Yaris does not replace any Porsches that I'm planning to purchase. I need a break from Porsche owning at this point. There is no doubt about it. GT3 has been my home ground for, I don't know, for how many years, and I'm not going to rush into anything. I'm going to drive my GR Yaris over the winter. Am I going to keep it? I have no idea. Just going to learn and experience that car. And then also I need to make a decision. How do I would like to fit my Porsche life? I cannot answer none of those questions because I don't have the answers. The GT Yaris, on the other hand, is a new experience for me. I mean, just the simple things that I thought was standard on cars. But remember, I've been driving Porsches since I was 19. But when I throw my bags in, I open the back door. Ooh, that sounds silly, right? But there is no lighting. I'm used to open the front on a Porsche and I see what's inside it. It's totally dark. It's like, amber lighting inside when it's dark also. The only lights I get in a GR Yaris is from the instrument cluster. I don't get any above lights, which I'm used to in my Porsche. So I have a lot of things to get used to. On the other hand, when I touch everything in the Toyota, it's solid. Perhaps the material isn't that fancy, but everything is rock solid. Something that I haven't experienced with in a Porsche for, 6 years, 10 years? We have rattling in a brand new Cross Turismo that I tested just another week. It's like, it's a strange feeling to really experience that quality, which is Porsche's far away from. So for me, it's a journey. I love it. Enough of my talking. Let's have a look at the results when I returned from Autoshield. Expel Stealth by Autoshield. I was not 100% going stealth on this vehicle, but this end results rest my case. I truly love it. The white even pops more, and I would say that the white has turned extremely loud with the Expel Stealth. I will do some minor modification to this vehicle. Tilted front window is one of them, because if this is tinted from the factory, which or GR Yaris is, then it looks like an hearse if I don't tint the front windows. And then we have the stock wheels, BBS forged aluminium wheels. Actually it cost €1,000 each. And they couldn't get the offset right, so it feels like the wheels are in the center of the vehicle. They need to come out with spaces to start with. I think the design looks really good. We have to put some mud flaps on because this is a rally car. And then when the winter hits, obviously some Michelin's X-Ice North 4 to get that perfect rally grip on the winter roads in Sweden. And to get that rally feeling, obviously I wanted some stickers on my vehicle. And as everybody knows, I work together with Michelin, and for me that was obvious reason. But remember, this car is equipped with the circuit pack, and one of the key features for that is that it is then equipped with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, and perhaps that's something that Volkswagen purchase department should consider, that some brands really understand the customer's need for performance before they equip their GT range, Porsche GT cars, GT4, GT3s with non-Michelin tires. I have watched a lot of YouTube videos and lately I've been analyzing a few things, and especially in the UK, what I actually believe is that the people that actually reviews the car only have it for a couple of hours or maximum one day. And how could anyone say anything about the car for such a short period of time and driving? I don't like that, and sometimes I get comments, "Whoa, your reviews are quite original," and I started to think, why is that? And the only conclusion that I can come up with is that I actually drive my vehicle for several days. Let me give an example. The 992 GT3, that was not one day, that was several days where I actually pushed the car, drive it, tested it in different situations. I have a test protocol that I follow when I test the car, and that's where I come to my conclusions. Let me give you an example. When I jump into the car, the first thing I do is actually to look around to see the visibility. What I mean is the A-pillar and the things around it makes it, well, you have dead spots, right? And I try to teach the dead spots, and to see, okay, where am I able to view out of the vehicle? And the thing is that when you have driven a car for a very long time, what happens is that you have a special order on where you look when you approach a corner or a cross or whatever. And perhaps you need to change, not the car, to be able to visualize the traffic situation. That's what I mean. I cannot go in and judge that the gap between the infotainment system and the center inner mirror are too close to each other until I have questioned if I am able to change and adapt to the vehicle, and perhaps I need to look on the right side first. That's why it's so important that you drive and test vehicles for a very long time to understand it. But one thing I can judge immediately, and that is the gearbox, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it is such a spectacular gearbox. It's tight, it's firm. You have all the ingredients I need as a petrol head to really drive it. The IMT, Intelligent Manual Transmission, oh yes, I believe it works as good as in a Porsche, no question about it. If you have not seen all the reviews I've done on my Porsches, please go ahead. Spectacular, spectacular, spectacular. I cannot even judge the brakes at this point. The only thing I can conclude is when I put the brake in the pedal, yes, it is as firm as it should in a sports car. To be honest, I don't feel any difference in the feeling between a Porsche GT4, for an example, and this GR Yaris. I just come into the corner, throw down the gear and brake, and boom, I get that instant. Well, the only difference actually between a Porsche GT4 and a Toyota GR Yaris in the feeling of braking, as far as I know today, is that I get warning lights. You know, the car starts to flash. I'm not sure why Toyota have all these safety regulations, but that's the biggest difference. And what a car to drive! What a car to drive! A few downsides that I've already figured out is that the noise in the cabin are just too much. You get tired immediately by driving this vehicle. It is close to a GT3, right? The only difference is basically on a 992 GT3, about 80 kilometers an hour, you cannot use the PCM system and communicate and use your phone's hands-free. This actually works, and that's quite surprisingly, isn't it? Whew, yeah, I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Toyota GR Yaris, and have to run in the engine to see if I could get to know this car more properly. In the meantime, I'm gonna hit some corners ahead. And since I debadged my GT3s, why don't debadge a GR Yaris? And I don't like the GR, it's like grrr in Swedish. It's someone that's angry, especially in the cartoons. And I put some black tape over it and it looks really good. I'm thinking of putting a QR code, which will obviously reach to my YouTube channel. Whew, I really love it. All the GR emblems are off and looks much cleaner, much better. The best with this car is that I am a petrolhead. Let me quickly explain. When I drive my Porsches, I drive them because I love driving. I call it, as you know, the art of driving. But when I get out of the vehicle, people look at me and they don't know that I'm a true enthusiast. They might look at me and say, hey, there is the rich boy in his Porsche. With this car, a normal person that has no interest in cars whatsoever, they will say, Toyota Yaris, reasonable guy, clever one. But the petrolhead will always recognize me as a petrolhead.